Hey there everyone, Foxy Fern here, and today we're taking a look at the art and animation of Stardew Valley from the perspective of a professional game animator. We'll talk about what was done well and why, and some changes I might have done to make it better. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the game, Stardew Valley is a charming, peaceful farm life sim. It has a wonderful mix of adventuring, social interactions, mystery, and farm management. Be aware that there may be a few spoilers ahead for anyone who hasn't played it. Stardew Valley is a pixel art style sprite-based game. This means that every animation you see in the game is composed of a sprite sheet. These are each a series of images laid out in a way that allows the engine to decipher what every animation should look like. While this might seem like a lot of work, one time saver is that animations are often mirrored from left to right. Sprite sheets allow for a lot of easy customization. This is likely why there are so many different clothing options you can access. You might think that there isn't a lot of animation work in the game due to the restriction of sprite sheets. In some ways, this actually makes creating good animation more challenging. For instance, when a character isn't moving, it would be easy for them to look frozen or stiff. This isn't the case for characters in Stardew Valley. Concerned Ape made characters feel alive by adding simple blinks. People and animals have very slight breathing animations. Even things like Willie's hands also move up and down while he's fishing. Something Stardew Valley does extremely well is the tool animations. Since the game is using sprite sheets, there is no motion blur. It has to actually be drawn into the sprites themselves. First, let's look at the Pickaxe Animation. Not only does it have a motion blur drawn in that animates as well, but it even starts before the pickaxe. There is actually a big gap between the hit frame and the frame before it. The motion blur drawn as a curve tricks our eyes into thinking we saw it move on that path. What's also interesting is the object you're hitting actually reacts to the tool the frame before it hits. When we see this in real time, it looks right. If it didn't react until after the hit, it would feel a little bit late. I actually talked briefly about this effect in my previous posing video. These same effects apply to the hoe and axe. The character also actually freezes mid-air for about 7 frames, while everything else around them continues to animate. This is a super interesting and effective choice to make the action feel punchy. The cartoony movement of inanimate objects was a great approach for this game. Overbending the fishing pole while a catch is in progress makes it feel like there is effort involved. Furnaces, kegs, and other farm machines actually squash and stretch when they're in use. This might seem a little weird, but it adds life to the game and gives visual feedback that the machine is working. The player holding objects above their head is a hilarious but adorable and clear way to communicate what they have equipped. Eating food also causes the character to freeze in the air as the action completes. This is a very clear, consistent way to communicate to the player that the action was successful. The entire game has an incredibly cohesive art style. Even when you travel to the desert or the beach, the environment has the same attention to detail. The color palettes all make sense, and everything looks like it exists within the same universe. The attention to detail on buildings is unparalleled to other pixel art games I've played. Even though the scenes are a high resolution, it still feels as though each pixel was placed with intent. The iconography is very clear. There is little to no confusion over items in your inventory, as each image was designed with care. Every single seed, sprout, and full-grown crop has a distinct look. Other games might just change the color or have the seeds all look the same to save time, but nope, not this one. The only thing I ever found myself confused by were the icons of sardines and anchovies. But I'm not sure what he should have done here because, well, I'm confused by that in real life too. One cool thing that Concerned Ape did was release some art from the game's earlier stages. It's impressive how much he learned about pixel art on top of everything else he was doing. Let's take a look at some of the old art next to the new art. Clearly, the new art is better, right? But why? There are 2 main factors: fundamental drawing skills and level of detail. Here's an old versus new drawing of Penny. The old one isn't bad, and there are plenty of successful games out there with worse art, but the new one is better. The part that sticks out to me the most is the depth of the newer one. Her clumps of hair have a real sense of volume due to the added highlights. The pose is more interesting, with her torso turned slightly away from us. It feels like a better fit for the timid nature of her character. The silhouette is cleaner and more readable, the importance of which is also something I covered in my posing video. The colors are better where the shadows are actually a cooler hue than the highlights. The shadows on her shirt are dark orange, which is more appealing than using a darker value of yellow. Color theory is a whole other topic, but for now just trust me when I say that Concerned Ape definitely studied and applied this. The differences between the old and new Stardrop Saloon are night and day. In the old one, the colors were kind of all over the place and didn't feel cohesive. While the new version has more colors, the palette works well together and the bar has a true westerny feel. There is an incredible amount of detail, yet he manages to not overdo it. The background colors are a little more muted so that the characters stand out to us the most. In the old version, the characters sort of get lost in the environment. There are a lot more great choices that I haven't covered, but these are the ones that stand out to me the most. So about the criticisms. I said we'd talk about what I'd have done to make it better. Well, I thought long and hard about this, and I got nothing. Damn it, Brony, you done good. Even when I thought there should be customization options for pets, I realized I was a dummy and that actually exists. Somehow, after over 600 hours played of this game, I never managed to discover that on my own. So yep, you caught me. I'm a fangirl. Although, that wasn't much of a mystery to anyone who's been to my other channel. So sue me. I guess if I were to add something for a little extra flavor, it might be different clothing for the villagers depending on the season. Some more animations for the farm pets might also be fun. Being able to play with your cat with some yarn or throw a stick for your dog could be a great addition. Right now, I find the pets annoying and in the way, but they're still required for a perfect game score. That's kinda all I do. Eric Baroni put an impressive amount of time, effort, and love into learning art and animation, and it shows. I can enjoy a game that's well designed even if it doesn't have good art, but I didn't have to lower my standards for this one. This game gets an A+ Foxy rating for art and animation. I hope you enjoyed this mini deep dive into my thoughts on game art, and maybe you learned a thing or two you hadn't thought of before. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and until next time, stay foxy.